Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Meenakshi Temple by Shivili Games.
Meenakshi Temple is a game coming to crowdfunding here in the near future, so make sure to check out the campaign link down below in the description of this video after you watch it. And we do want to thank Shivili Games and Open Border Studios for helping sponsor this video. Now, Meenakshi Temple is an action selection game in which you are going to be building a temple using different colored meeple statues, placing them on spots on cards, trying to build as many layers as fast as possible before the game comes to an end to garner as many points as you can. You'll be competing against other players, trying to make your secret goal happen for you on each of your different levels. Let me show you how it plays down below, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, I have Meenakshi Temple on the table. Let me show you guys how this action selection game is going to work. I do want to point out everything you see here is prototype, so the final artwork components and maybe even some of the rules might change once it's released from crowdfunding. That being said, let me show you guys what you have here. You have a central board. You've got some tiles over here, some meeples that are going to act as your action selection pieces, but also act as your score marker on the score track around the outside of the board. You do have some cards, and you have several different colors of meeple statues that you will be using to build your temple. And so how this game is going to work, each player is going to have their own player board with a special ability as well as storage for your different statues in the game. And these are double-sided, and you can play with either the black dot or the white dot, and that will give you a different player ability depending upon which one you select here. And so, for instance, let's say I choose this one here, and it says anytime I choose the red action, I get to go first in the next round, because this is action selection, and the actions you choose determine what you get, what blessings you'll get, as well as what order you'll go in the next turn. I do want to point out here that this little card right here is a card, and this is for the 2 to 3 player game. If you are playing a 4-player game or a 5-player game, the number of action spots will be different, because how this game is going to work, how a round will work, you'll look at this turn order right here, and so the yellow player would get to go first, and they'll pick an action on this side of the card over here, looking at what is available to them. And these cards are going to change throughout the course of the game. So for instance, if you took the take a slab action, which is what this icon is right here, you won't receive any sort of special benefit for having taken it, but you will get to go first in the next round. Alternatively, if you were to select the construct statue action, you would get 4 victory points. That's what these icons are right here. But you will probably go last at the end of in the next round. And at the bottom of every single one of these cards is a question mark, and that is a place for you to go if say someone took the action you wanted to do. So say the yellow player builds, and then the blue player was like, well, I wanted to build. You still can by going down here, and that allows you to take any one of the other actions. You just don't gain whatever is on this side of the card. And these right here indicate that you would get to take 2 statues. So for instance, if the purple player comes over here and takes the upgrade action, they would gain 2 red statues, taking from the supply over here and placing it on their player board in spots like such. So those are the ideas here with the turn action selection mechanic with this game. So let me explain the different actions that you'll be taking on your turn. This is the take a slab action, which means you'll get to take one of these cards up here at the top of the player board, and these cards do have letters on them, and that denotes which stack they go into. Not only are you going to be wanting these cards to construct on top of your basement level, every player has their own card that matches their player board, and you'll be building up a tower using these meeple pieces to place a next slab on top of that, and going up building the tower as you go. but these cards are going to give you victory points at the end of the game. If you have any in your hand, you'll get increasing number of victory points for different letters. As you can see, there's A, B, C, D, and E, and you'll get more points if you have more different letters in your hand. So that's the taking a slab action. The next action we'll talk about is going to be the constructing the statues. And so you'll be gaining these statues by taking different actions and gaining different bonuses, and they'll be going onto your player board as I've already shown you. But when you want to construct them, you will, I'm going to put my slab out here on the board so you can see it, but normally this would be off of the board. You'll be putting your statues from your player board onto these different spots. And you do want to try to match color for color, so placing a blue statue right here is good for me. However, I don't have to do that. I could place mismatched colors. Every statue you place is going to be 1 point, but if you do match the color with where it goes, that'll be an additional point. So I would get 2 points for placing that blue statue there, but I would only get 1 point for placing there. And then on the cards, there are going to be these shaded bars. They are black and white. This is a black bar here. As you can see on this card, it has two. It has a white bar and a black bar. And what you are trying to do with these, you're trying to fill these up with different colored statues. And so, for instance, maybe I place white on white, blue on blue, and yellow on white. If I can get 3 different colored statues on that bar, I get 3 additional points. So if I were to build this right here, I would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because yellow doesn't match the white, but then I would get 6, 7, 8 points total for having filled in that bar. So that is the constructing action. This action right here is going to be how you get the white statues, because the white statues are the Shiva statues and they're more rare than the other statues, so they're harder to get. You have to take that action to get it. This action right here is to receive blessings. Now, in order to do this, you would have to have at least 2 statues of a particular color, and you need to have more than any other player on the current level that they are building at that point in the game when you take this action. So, for instance, I've got 2 yellow statues, and if no one else had more than me, I would get to take the yellow blessing tile, which this one says score 1 victory point for each color of the statues on your current level, and I currently have 3 different colors, so I would gain 3 points. Had I had blue out here as well, I would gain blue as well, which would have said take 2 different non-Shiva statues, non-Shiva meaning non-white statues. And all the different tiles have their own special abilities, and these tiles are double-sided. As you can see, a white dot, but then there's a black dot on the other side. And so you can increase the replayability by choosing whether you want to play on the white or black dot side. Now, that is the idea behind receiving blessings, and this is the upgrade action. So I'm going to take the slab off the board here so you can see that. The upgrade action is going to involve this part of the board right here. You can take one of the 3 cards that are available in the market and place it in one of the slots underneath your player board, and that's going to give you another ability that you'll be doing throughout the course of the game. This particular one says gain a green statue when you perform the green action. As you can see, the different actions have different colors, and so if I took whatever the green action was, and it's going to be different on every card, then I would also get to take a green statue with it because of this card. And you are going to have space for 3 different upgrades, and if you took on a 4th, you'd have to cover up one of your other ones. You would lose that ability for the rest of the game. Or what you can do when you take the upgrade action, you can take whatever the furthest left one is and flip it over, because on the back side of this is expanded storage that you can place here next to your player board, and now I have 2 more spots to put statues in. This will also give me a victory point at the end of the game for every expanded storage that I have. I do also want to point out this deck is constructed with the 1 deck, which are not as powerful as the 2 deck, and so the 2 deck is going to be underneath the 1 deck. So as the game progresses, these upgrades are going to become more valuable and more special. So those are the basic actions that you'll be doing throughout the course of the game. Once everybody has taken an action, you'll take that card that determined what your actions were and the benefits that you received. You'll flip it over and it's a slab on the other side, and you'll look at what letter it is and you'll place it in that pile. You'll flip this little arrow over here to show that now you're going over on this side of the card using this card over here, and you'll just repeat the process. You're going to be continuing this game, building up your tower. I do want to point out one other thing about these slabs. There are some circles around certain spots, as you can see the 4 corners on this card. Once you've put statues in those 4 slots, then you are able to take that take a slab action where you can place another slab on top of it to give you an idea what that looks like real quick. And again, you don't have to match the colors. You can use any color in these spots, but it is more beneficial to you to put matching colors because that's going to get you more points. But once I have the 4 corners, I could place another card on top, taking the take a slab action, and now I can start building on this slab. The game will continue like this until someone has constructed their 7th slab, or until when 2 different types of statues have completely run out, at which point that will trigger the end of the game and everyone will get to play another round and you'll go to final scoring. So how you'll get points at the end of the game: you'll get 1 point again for every expanded storage that you picked up throughout the course of the game. You'll get 1 point for every pair of statues that you still have on your player board somewhere. You will also receive victory points for that set collection I talked about with the slabs that you still have in your hand. But then you also have a secret objective card, and you'll receive different points based on how well you achieved whatever your secret objective was for each of your different levels. So for instance, this one here says 6 victory points for each tower level with 4 or more different statue colors. So this particular level right here has 4 different colors, so I would get 6 points, and hopefully I could continue that on the next level and so on and so forth. So you'll get points for that. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner, and that's how you play Meenakshi Temple. I do want to point out when you are playing a 2-player game, and we did do a 2-player playthrough video, so you'll want to check that out. Each player has 2 meeples that they will be using, so you'll get to take 2 actions each round. And that's what you have here. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this action selection game. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Meenakshi Temple from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. And we do want to point out that we did do a 2-player playthrough on this game. And so if you would like to check out this game in action, go ahead and click the I in the top right corner, and it will take you to that video. So Sam, seeing this out on the temple, there's a bunch of different colored... On the table. Temple, did I say temple? Yeah. Seeing it on the table, there's a bunch of different colored meeples with this game. What was your first initial impression with it?
It looked like a much heavier game than we typically play, so I was not excited.
It does look intimidating. It is action selection, though, which is a mechanic that I think both of us really enjoy. And I like the mechanic of the whole... The action you pick is going to determine what turn order you go in the next round, and that changes each round too. So that's not a static thing either. I do really enjoy that aspect of it. What were the things that stood out to you about the gameplay with this particular game?
I definitely think we've played it a couple times, and I definitely enjoyed it more subsequent times than the first time. I think the first time it's a lot of just figuring out what each area means, because or what each area does and how it can benefit you and how to use that. So the first time I think I was just feeling it out and trying to figure it out. So it is one of those games where it definitely gets better each time you play and you learn. And it seems much less confusing the second time around than it did the first.
I think for me, playing it more times, you start to discover the timing of the different actions and how so vitally important it is taking the timing of when to do certain actions, because doing this particular action might get me 5 points right now, but it doesn't set me up well at all for my next turn. And so you really have to kind of piece that together and think 2, maybe 3 turns ahead. But it's not one of those games where you're like needing to have a solid plan from beginning of the game to the end of the game. You don't have to have that kind of foresight. This is just 2 or 3 turns foresight, which I think is good when it comes to gaming with casual or non-gamers. What about the fun factor with this particular game? What stood out to you as far as that goes? Yeah,
it's fun. I think figuring out what turn you want to be in. And having, in a 2-player game, you have 2 meeples, so you have 2 turns per round.
Right.
And I think just thinking that through, which one is going to be most beneficial, what happens if they take what I want. This, blessing card's going to get me this, what do I need to do? So it's really, I think it's a really good game for non-gamers to develop strategy.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I think, and it's pretty simple. I think it looks really complicated, but because there's so many options, it's not like if he takes what my plan is that my whole strategy goes to crap. I can kind of reconfigure my strategy.
There's definitely ways to kind of throw a wrench into other players' plans, but there's always an opportunity to work out around that. Whether that be, I might have to go to the bottom of the list to still do the action I needed to do, which means I'm probably not going to get to go first next turn. I definitely won't get to go first. I may end up going last, but I still get to do what I needed to do this turn. I absolutely needed to do it. So you can still do it. Or you can maybe take a less advantageous turn but get to go first next time or close to first next time so that you get to do what you really needed to do on the next turns. Things like that.
I think the first time you play, you're really focused on filling the cards and building your tower. And then the second time and times after that, you realize that is important, but it kind of naturally happens. And so your brain can use space to take care of the other stuff.
You also start to discover that it may not be in your best interest to try to fill up every spot on your card. Like maybe you want to power on to the next level because maybe you need to build that up and to get your gold card going. Or there's just so many ways that you can kind of develop a strategy to get your points in this game. And I really like that about it, that it's not just about filling up every circle. It's about making smart choices when to move on to the next level, because maybe you move on to the next level so you can get more blessing tokens or whatever the case is. So lots to like about this particular game. It's crunchy enough for the gamer to be invested with this particular game, but I do feel like it is a still very I wouldn't say simple game, but the rule set's pretty straightforward with this game. It's pretty small.
I think if you just go into it knowing like the first time's going to be a little clunky, then after that, I think the second time you play it, it's a really good game for a non-gamer. It's a really good game for a non-gamer and gamer couple.
Yeah, I will absolutely agree with that. It's been one of the better ones I think that we've gotten to try out here lately, with just how well it works for both gamers and non-gamers. So really interesting, fun one with Meenakshi Temple. We would highly recommend it. Definitely check it out. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this particular game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.